Have you ever caught yourself thinking, I always mess things up, or if I feel it, it must be true? These thoughts are called cognitive distortions or mental habits that twist how we see ourselves, others, and life. Let's walk through some of the most common distortions so you can start noticing them in your own thinking. Let's start with minimizing the hurtful. This distortion shows up when you downplay painful experiences or downplay how you've caused harm. You tell yourself, it wasn't that bad, even though it hurt deeply. By minimizing, you deny yourself or others the validation and care actually needed. Another one is discounting the positive. Here, good moments never seem to count. Maybe you got praised at work, but you only remember criticism or say they were just being nice. By discounting the positive, you erase the good and leave only the struggle. You might also notice getting stuck between extremes. This is all or nothing thinking. It sounds like, I'm either perfect or I'm a complete failure. Life is full of shades of gray, but this distortion traps us in rigid black and white categories. Something else that happens is being derailed by mistakes. One slip-up, and suddenly the whole day feels ruined. This distortion turns mistakes into proof that you're broken, instead of seeing them as a normal part of learning and growing. There's also defaulting feelings as facts. This distortion says, if I feel it, it must be true. For example, I feel unsafe, so I must be unsafe. Feelings are valid signals, but they're not always the same as facts. Another common one is defining your opinion as truth. Here, your personal view becomes the unquestioned reality. You might think, I feel stupid, so I must be stupid. But an opinion, even a strong one, isn't the full truth. Other distortions show up as fortune-telling. This happens when you assume you can predict the future, and commonly that the future won't end well. This might sound like, I just know this date will be a disaster, or, there's no point in asking, I'll get rejected anyway. Fortune-telling convinces you of negative outcomes before they've even had a chance to happen. We also have overgeneralizing. This distortion takes one event and applies it everywhere. If a friend cancels on you, you might think, friends always let me down. A single moment becomes a sweeping rule. Then there's labeling yourself or others. Instead of describing actions, this distortion stamps you or others with fixed labels. You might say, I'm worthless, or I'm a bad person. Labels shrink the complexity of people into harsh absolutes. On the flip side, there's allowing others to label you. This is when you accept negative labels that others give you, like lazy or difficult. Over time, those words can start to feel like your identity, even when they're not true. A big one is catastrophizing non-catastrophes. This distortion blows small problems out of proportion. For example, missing a deadline turns into, this will ruin my whole career. It makes ordinary setbacks feel like disasters. You might also recognize assuming blame habitually. Here, you automatically take responsibility for things that aren't yours to carry. If someone's upset, you instantly think, it's my fault, or I am the blame even when not. And finally, burdening yourself with narrow expectations. This distortion sounds like, I should never make mistakes, or I must always be strong. Narrow expectations box you in, making life feel like a test you're destined to fail. We all fall into these distortions sometimes. They're part of being human. The first step is simply noticing them. Here's a tip you can start using right away. Pause and ask yourself, is this thought a fact or just a feeling? That small question can open the door to more balanced and compassionate thinking. Be gentle with yourself as you practice catching them.